Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, Ryunosuke summoned his courage and willpower, and pretty conclusively started going down this great path, where he backed Giselle Brett into a corner and all but proved that she poisoned Dr. Wilson. But then, feeling cornered, Brett took the poisoned bottle of carbonated water and dropped it on the ground, destroying the evidence. Now, instead of the judge being like, oh wow, that's guilty as fuck of you, go to jail immediately, he was like, oh, whoopsie, I guess we need to do something else. And now Ryunosuke still needs to find some other way to prove his innocence. It's so stupid, but I don't know, I like it. It's fun. Anyway, now Ryunosuke remembered a bloodstain he saw on the wooden holding plate of the hot metal plate that branded Wilson's wrist, and he asked the detective, the inspector Hosonaga, to bring forth the plate, but there was no bloodstain on it. Instead, under the stake was a Koban coin. So I'm thinking that a plate was swapped at one point, probably by Giselle Brett. And now we've brought every witness to the stand to cross-examine them at once, so boy. For the very first case in a game, a tutorial case, this is bizarrely complicated. But I'm here for it, it's great. What's this all about? Why, I've been called up again. Don't you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Ado? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs forced to bear false witnesses. And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Ryunosuke shop owner's existence. Be that as it may, Kurikoto-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Ryunosuke memory serves, have you ever... Waha! That's it, the very exact one that it is. The resplendent, splendiferous Hoei treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be. As I thought. Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices. Is this a sandwich? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly it couldn't have fallen there by accident. Which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing? I know who. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flesh out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korakuta-san's Koban is all too clear. What? What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us who was the despicable scoundrel that stole Korakuta-san's Koban and hid it under the stake. With pleasure.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Iyasanosa? Wah! How? How dare you, you monster! Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of Le Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me, it was Eido. Eido is the mastermind behind all this. You know, my brain had to take a second to process what I was actually looking at and reading. And then the sheer absurdity of it all really hit me. This dramatic, fast zoom-up close-up of this baby holding this dismayed look as this full-grown adult man, the father of this child, blames his infant son for repeated larceny. Oh my god. You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. Oh my god. Did his neck just break? His mustache is all bent out of shape now. Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Iyasanosa preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. Oh my god. Okay. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. And I have heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. Maybe this is after World War II then. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant. The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man and his Koban. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I'd know too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. This is ridiculous. Yeah, I thought it might be her. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time. Well, Miss Brett. Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency. Indeed. The theft of the koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant, who would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Well, oof. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered. Hold on. Let me take a look at that steak again. My god, it has been bit through. It has been bit through. Oh my god. No, wow. The truth was in front of me the entire time. There are two separate bite marks in this steak. This is without a doubt Sergeant Iasanosa's steak from his table. The problem is, though, that this evidence before our very eyes was retrieved from the plate of Dr. Wilson and Giselle Brett. The steaks were swapped, without a doubt. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see evidence, Counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where's the evidence to prove it? The steak.
Take that!
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed, yes. Go on. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Noticed what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. Then take a good look at this steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Ah! Oh! Ah! Looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection!
But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry. Ooh. Little handkerchief? That's new. Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. I've heard enough, you irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course, dear lady. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Ooh, he said it. Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes. Now, at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks on the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been? What? But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it.
Objection!
I don't. But there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair? One Satoru Hosonaga.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this stake with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korakuta-san's coin, he told us that he had slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Tension. Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Objection!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over? You did switch the plates? Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. Oh, he did it really. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table. What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you, so yes, I did what had to be done. Unbelievable! However, fear not, Prosecutor-san. What now? I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform that it is all I did, sir. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
So if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Earlier in this trial you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve evidence you had taken both. Ow! Ooh, she doesn't like where this is going. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? Oh, wrong voice. What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat? It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection!
No, you're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady. I beg your pardon? Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why this steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no? Huh, you're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me. The reason the defense asked to see that plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing. Tisk thinks he remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. Now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and the plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir! Can we tell that one's cut with a knife? Sorry for keeping you. Here's the other steak and its plate. Please feel free to examine it. Bingo. The blood stain. It's clearly visible, look.
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. Ah, it can't be. In fact, there is only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right, Miss Giselle Brett. It's you! This is gonna be good. Outdone by a Japanese. Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No. No, no! Duckling falls out. What the hell? good. Oh, that's real good. Bravo. Oh, bravo. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm good. Oh, alright, um, please, please excuse my please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Yeah, no kidding. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using Curare. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because Curare is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water and it would all be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone. And leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you've decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point. So I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. Planned to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of Curare in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right, there were two guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Placed where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I'd intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun, even though at that point he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around. Because, of course, needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency? Yes? I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san. Nah, fuck you. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement. This can't be. Takatsuchi Ouchi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student. You better start getting used to tough opposition. Arg, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? Yeah? This insult to the Ouchi family name will never be forgotten. Nice. You've become conceited with age, Council, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. That is one long-reaching sword. 1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Ouchi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. Maybe Inquisitor Burnham actually had a point with waving that sword around all along, huh? This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case. Thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern mythology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what will it look like I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asogi. Yes. After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can. Absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. Oh, what's going on here? As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, yes? In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency. It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty. Hell yeah. Ah, it's Sakura petals. Neat. Not confetti. This court is now adjourned. Yeah, that was a pretty great trial. Loved it. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. I thought so. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence. Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know. Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much! If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate. Your father? Ah, yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Speaking of Mikotoba... Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job. Thank you, Professor. Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend. Good friend? Oh, yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably that's when you met Dr. Wilson. Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. Oh, you worked together. Never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Nasogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. In science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Of course I am. The Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. What? Maybe this... Maybe that... You know what, never mind. I'm thinking that might be a reference to something, but I don't know for sure. And cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. And that reminds me, what's happened to the woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit after all. She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. for Shanghai. Yeah, I kind of figured. That's the vibe I was getting. What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country, I'm certain of that. What? But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hosonaga. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today, very impressive to watch. I must congratulate... But what's all this about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away where our voices can't be heard. But why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the Friendship Treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our governments making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan? I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make a change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. If he's talking about the start of the 20th century, maybe this is before World War II. I don't know. They said there was a great conflict. Honestly, I have no idea what troubles Japan got up to pre-World War II. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. But, Professor... You're right, this is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. In that case, might suggest Le Carnival. As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about details for now. To Le Carnival, will you accompany us, Professor? Of course, Le Carnival's food is second to none. I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. What a bittersweet ending here. So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma. Yes, Ryunosuke? I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? The defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean. Oh no, not me. All that tense verbal combat? Never want to go through that ever again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point? Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you chose to believe in, even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client? Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stopped believing in me. Well, You faced seemingly hopeless situations time and again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. Darn it, what is it? I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Rickshaws! Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now, your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes, that too. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma, Professor Mikotoba, Susato-san, who acted as my assistant, Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still... What? Wait, no, come on! It was all because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But, more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. End. Yeah, no, 100% that favor is to go to Britain in his stead. Man, how serendipitous is this? just perfect pacing all through these videos I've recorded so far. We ended up ending this first trial perfectly at the 55-minute mark. Just under an hour, which is what I like to end my videos on. That's... what a happy, lucky coincidence. Yeah, I'll save. Let's see here. The oldest would be this one. Yeah, I think if I hit back... Wait. Oh, the silhouette of the save file changed. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band? Neat. Oh yeah, I think I see a figure in some sort of hat holding a... Oh, what the frick is the word for it? There's a special word for that kind of pipe? Or maybe it's just pipe. But those old-timey pipes. Yeah, you put it in your pipe and smoke it, that kind of pipe. Anyway, if I hit back, I think the next case will begin, but I don't want to see the intro just yet. We'll pick that up next time. So I guess I'll just say my farewells here. Yeah, no, that was a really fun case. I do think it was just very weird and off-putting that the judge had no penalties for Giselle Brett when she broke that evidence in front of everyone in the courtroom. It's just... that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, he didn't even say anything negative about it, even. At least I don't think. But hey, this case, it was convoluted in all the best Ace Attorney ways. Just... Ace Attorney done to a perfection. Like those steaks, which looked very tasty. God, I'm hungry. I should eat something today. Yeah, I'm pretty confident now. We're going to Britain. I feel like that's what this is. Who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe the finale case, it could come back to Japan, but no, I do want to say the majority of this game is going to be set in Britain. Maybe elsewhere. I mean, they talked about Shanghai. Maybe we could go there too? I mean, Shanghai is in China, right? I think? Shanghai, China? Yeah, that sounds right. It doesn't even sound Japanese, the name. I mean, yeah, I really don't have much else to say. I love these characters. I love the energy and tone of this game. I feel like the intended audience of this game might issue older. I feel like this game so far is using generally bigger, more obscure words than previous games. And it's a bit more grisly. Like all that stuff with the curare poison, how it kills people, how it's described, it's just brutal and frightening. Not to mention the subject matter, like these... Yeah, I just feel like this game's going for an older audience, and I like that, I really do. I wonder how my perception of that will change over time. Maybe I'm just reading too much into nothing, but all I know is I'm going to be very eager to see what happens next for multiple reasons, so hope you'll join me for that. In the meantime, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.